Welcome back to Queensland Housing Development, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the philosophy of the project lifecycle. Whether you are developing a healthcare service, a resort complex, or a residential multiple dwelling, 95% of all projects in Queensland will transition through the same process, although with subtle nuances. I personally have public and private industry experience in development assessment. However, please treat these videos as general interest only because all projects are uniquely different and require specialized focus and attention to specific project details. These videos are my personal thoughts intended as reminders for myself, but if you get some worth out of them, hit the subscribe button, like and comment about your questions, queries in a particular local government area, and I shall endeavor to create a video on that topic. So let's get into it. This is the 4 key milestones and 3-step process to take any project from concept, design, approvals, building certification, and certificate of occupancy prior to the commencement of building use, as per the National Construction Codes of Australia. Although these key milestones and steps may have overlapping areas when you become familiar with the process, they can be streamlined independently to maximize certainty and efficiency to reduce errors. Rush projects and overlooked factors commonly cause unnecessary and costly redesign and project delays. So let's have a look at a general example to put the whole process in context. Milestone 1 is the preliminary concept. It is assumed you already have screened and decided on a particular site. And keep in mind, step 1 is the most important for securing approvals prior to construction. For this example, we have bought a vacant parcel of land like this one here, and will develop an apartment complex on the site, which needs to undergo a code assessment and state government referral application to the Department of Transport and Main Roads. Step 1 involves local government planning constraints. Identify all relevant development codes, overlay codes, zone codes, and local plan codes that apply to the site. Adapt your design to comply with these assessment benchmarks. For example, site cover, building heights, setbacks, building materials, landscaping, roof pitch, continuous wall length, operating hours, what percent of private open space is shaded, is earthworks necessary, what are the available utilities, telecommunications, underground sewer and water, and any necessary network extensions. As you read through these planning constraint policies from the planning scheme, incorporate into your design to ensure compliance, or have a sound argument to justify during the approvals process. You will need to do this to obtain any necessary approvals. And yes, for all you people that enjoy legislation, Chapter 3 of the Planning Act does clearly mandate and outline these planning scheme requirements. Check for state and federal government development triggers. You may have exemptions, so ensure you check the Planning Act and Planning Regulation and state and federal government accepted development documentation. For this example, federal government is not triggered, but state government is. So we download the relevant state development assessment provision, commonly known as SDAP, that has been triggered. For example, SDAP 6, Protection of State Transport Networks. Ensure you have demonstrated compliance with the performance outcomes with this particular provision and adjust your concept design accordingly or prepare a reasonable argument for not complying. Undertake any necessary additional reports such as bushfire hazard assessments, stormwater management plans, traffic impact assessments, ecological residual impact assessments, any biodiversity offsetting requirements, and/or hydro modelling if necessary. And complete a DA Form 1 for a material change of use development application seeking approval for a multiple dwelling. Have landowners' consent and title search, contaminated land certificate, and attach a town planning report demonstrating compliance with all applicable assessment benchmarks, including design plans and any other statutory requirements. This completes step 1 to reach milestone 2, which is the submission of a completed development application. Step 2 involves the 35 business day development assessment process, where your proposal is assessed against the assessment benchmarks and how you have addressed them in your town planning report. If you have completed step 1 correctly, you will have a development approval within a 35 business day period. I have personally authored development permits within a 10-day period because applicants have provided sufficient information with the initial application, while other development applications can take longer than 12 months. to get an approval because of unprepared applications and time taken to provide the required information. To put that into perspective, if you submit an application and don't have an approval within 2 months, the applicant is usually not providing adequate information. Unfortunately, many people leave out the important information which triggers information requests and back and forth dialogue to resolve any issues, which causes major project delays. It is more efficient and productive to complete step 1 correctly, obtain your approvals, and just get on with your development. Which brings us to milestone 3. We have approvals for the apartment complex and now can commence step 3, which involves construction. We engage a construction team to carry out the works as per the approved design plans and development permit conditions. And upon completion of the apartment complex, a building certifier will need to evaluate the works and issue a certificate of occupancy, which confirms the building meets industry standards as per the approved land use. In this case, the apartment complex is a Class 2 building. We constructed it to industry standards and in accordance with the approved plans. A building certifier has issued a certificate of occupancy to the applicant and local government. The applicant has paid their infrastructure charges in accordance with the issued infrastructure charges notice, and now the Class 2 apartment complex building is able to commence use, which is milestone 4, completion. This is a general overview from concept to completion that 95% of all proposed developments throughout Queensland will transition through prior to commencement of a new use. There are many exceptions within this process. However, for general guidance, following this 4 milestone 3-step process can make the process much easier and implement exceptions accordingly as you navigate the Planning Scheme, Planning Act, and Planning Regulation, as well as any other statutory requirements such as their FNQ Rock Development Manual. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.